What if hiring could be easier, more streamlined, and less time-consuming, so even when you're busy, you could still be smart about the way you hire? With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with just one click, so you can rest easy knowing your job is being seen by the right candidates. Then, ZipRecruiter puts its smart matching technology to work, actively notifying qualified candidates about your job within minutes of posting so you receive the best possible matches. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other hiring sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on the right candidates finding you, it finds them. And it's no wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter, it's the smartest way to hire. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by growing businesses of all sizes and industries to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That is right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/M&M. That's ZipRecruiter.com/M&M. One more time to try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/M&M.
Buying tickets to sports and concerts can be complicated, but there is a better way to buy with SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to every type of live event. And right now, get $20 off your first purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code WINGO today.
Charles Barkley, TNT NBA analyst, joins us now. Charles, we appreciate you being with us. We know we've been through a lot in your home state of Alabama over the last 24 hours or so, so we do appreciate you getting up early with us. How are you this morning?
Well, man, I'm just excited. Number one, congratulations on the new show.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm just so proud of the people in Alabama for rising up, and congratulations to Doug Jones.
All right. So, that was the big result in the election there. But let's talk about the NBA now and what's going on here, Charles. Paul George returns to Indiana tonight. First time since he left in the offseason. It's going to be on our air. What do you remember most about the first time when you returned to Philly after leaving Philly? Because you were an icon in that city.
Well, I think it's emotional. It's very emotional because you meet some great people. I mean, because you kind of I was in Philly for 8 years. You get to know the fans. They become your friends. I mean, really good friends. But I remember telling my team, the Suns, I said, hey, man, I love y'all. I love being in Phoenix. But if y'all lose this game, I'm going to kill everybody in this locker room after the game. We better beat these guys. That's the last thing I told them before the game. I said, if we lose this game, y'all are not flying back to Phoenix with me.
Oh, I love that. How about the Thunder, that team, with that mixture of players that they have and how they came together, and it's just not happening right now, sitting at 12-14, favored in 25 games and have lost 14 of them. Why is it not working for them in this group right now?
No, they don't have a good team. I said 6 weeks ago, they're not going to have a good team because they don't have enough diversity. You have three guys who need the ball, and it's only one basketball out there. You have two other guys who are just standing around. I said from the beginning I didn't think it was going to work. I'm not surprised at all. You go back and look at the tape. I said, they're not going to be very good. Mike, when I got traded to Phoenix, I was so happy to play with Dan Marley and Kevin Johnson, Mark West, and those guys. But, when Kevin or Dan had it going, I was content to get some rebounds. I wasn't a good defender, but I was content getting 17, 18 rebounds. Those guys, they're all just scorers. So they don't bring in a diversity to the table. One can't say, hey, you know what? Russ got it going tonight. I'm going to just get a bunch of rebounds. But they don't do that. They all are scorers. Russ is the man, but those other two guys, they're just primary scorers, and that's it.
Well, so you don't think there's any way they can get this to work? Because I'm sure a lot of fans were really excited about the three of those guys together, but you don't see any way with what these players, those three players like to do, that they can find a way to make it work and become a better team?
No, I don't think it can work at all. I mean, listen, there's only basketball. You got all these fools out of here who believe in analytics. Analytics only work when you have Clay, Steph, and Kevin Durant. That's the only time analytics work. And it works with the Rockets because James is fabulous and, they got a bunch of scores. But you got to have guys who can do different things. And they don't have guys who can do different things. they can all score, but you can't say one guy's a great defender, one guy's a great rebounder. They're just all great scorers, and it's never going to work. So it's going to be a failed experiment in the end.
As far as guys coming back from injury, we talked about Kawhi Leonard, a team that went 19-8. He didn't play in the first 27 games of the year from that ankle injury last year. He played 16 minutes last night in their loss. Talk about coming back from an injury, in this case a lower body injury for a basketball player, and how you do need to bring it along. 16 minutes this first game. How many minutes you think the next game, and when a guy like that can get at full strength?
Well, the toughest thing, Mike, is getting your confidence back, being able to explode. I had a couple knee surgeries, and I was scared to, jump with all my energy. So, Pop is the greatest, he's right up there with Phil Jackson as the greatest coach ever. He's going to manage his minutes. But the number one thing, he just got to get confidence in his body. Because, like I say, a couple times I had knee injuries, I was scared to jump with all my energy because I was like, this thing going to give again. But it will come. It just takes a little time.
We talked a little bit with Charles Barkley about what's happening with Paul George tonight when he goes back to Indiana. And then, of course, Chuck, they go to New York on Saturday, and that'll be Carmelo's first time back there. What do you expect the reaction is going to be when Carmelo goes back to the Garden?
Well, I think it'll be a little bit different because the way the Knicks have disrespected him, it was unbelievable the last year or so. But it's going to be emotional, like I said, because you get to know these fans. When you're in a city for a long, extended period of time, you know everybody who's on the front row. You play golf with guys all summer, so you develop a lot of close friendships. But I tell you, it's interesting how, everybody keeps telling you who's great players, who's great players, who's the great players. There's only 2 or 3 great players. Everybody in the NBA can play. Everybody in the NBA can play. But there's 5 great players because you can see how some of these teams are playing better without these quote-unquote great players. Like I say, all these guys are good players, but I get sick and tired of people telling me who's a great player because some of these teams are doing much better without their quote-unquote superstars.
Talking to Charles Barkley, TNT NBA analyst, also, if all that remember, an All-American center at Auburn, NBA MVP in '93, 11-time NBA All-Star. And one of those great players, without question, would be LeBron James. But in a general question, LeBron is playing extremely well right now for all the miles and he has on his legs and his number of years in the NBA. We've been reading a lot and hearing a lot about Tom Brady and what he's doing at 40 and other quarterbacks that say they feel good enough to play into their 40s. Do you think this will expand to a very physical running sport and physical sport like the NBA, where in today's age where guys and their nutrition and the resting a little more and making the NBA season a little longer, all the things maybe at their disposal, could you see players in the NBA lasting longer than they did?
Well, first of all, Father Time is always going to win in the long run. But, the difference is, Mike, the game is less physical. Has nothing to do with guys taking better care of themselves. Listen, guys have always taken care of themselves. Do these guys have some extra stuff? Yeah, maybe they do. But the reason they can play longer, they've turned the game into a 3-point shooting contest, and there's no physicality. That's the reason guys are, playing at a high level. Some of these guys are playing at a high level. There's no physicality in the game anymore. It's becoming a jump shooting contest. LeBron's amazing. I mean, he's one of the 10 greatest players I've ever seen in my life. But the reason these guys are play like this now is, like I say, nobody can hit you anymore. You kind of just run up and down the court in a 3-point shooting contest. That's the difference. But nobody ever beats Father Time. Father Time is always going to win in the long run.
By the way, it kind of sounds like the NFL defense now. You can't hit anybody anymore.
I knew you were
I had to
that
get
one.
it in there. Sorry.
Well, yeah, it's things have changed in both your sport and his sport. That's for sure. That's why that debate is always interesting when you talk about Michael Jordan's Bulls and the Warriors, and the question is, which rules are you playing by?
Right.
The ones that the Bulls played by, or the ones that the Warriors now play by, so you can get all those free threes. Hey, obviously, Charles, LeVar Ball's in the news for a couple of reasons right now with the Lakers asking him to sort of tone it down a few weeks ago, as Ramona Shelburne reported. And then, of course, he's got the 2 kids that aren't playing for the Lakers moving over to play pro ball in Lithuania. When you heard that, these are two kids, 16 and 19 years old, what was your reaction?
I just feel sadness. That the media, CNN, ESPN, has given this guy a platform. He represents everything that's bad about sports. It's all about him. I just feel bad for those kids because, everybody talk about he might be a good father, this and that. No, he's not. He's just exploiting his kids. His kids, I love the kid playing for the Lakers. I don't know the other two kids. He's all about big baller brand. He has no foreseeable talent. He's trying to make money on his kids. And I just feel sadness for those kids because they're going to do whatever he tells them to do. And I just don't like the guy at all, plain and simple. And don't tell me he's a good father. Just because you exploit your kids trying to make money because you have no talent, that does not make you a good father. That makes you exploiting your kids. And I don't like the guy at all, and I wish they would quit putting him on television because he has no talent whatsoever.
The one thing that we talk about whenever we bring that up is, well, hopefully the kids can make something out of it. Lonzo Ball is already, showing some great signs, obviously, in the NBA. So let's talk about it from the basketball side of where they're going. They're going to go play, obviously, overseas, so that means they're not playing the one who's in high school, ain't going back to high school, can't go to college. The college kid can't go back to college. So this is their lot right now. How tough is this road? Certainly we've seen other, obviously, foreign players play European ball and come over and play in the NBA. How tough is this road for basketball players to go through to try and get back to the NBA?
I don't know enough about I do know Lithuania. They got a great basketball heritage. If you go back and look at the 1992 Dream Team that I was fortunate to be part of, they were one of the elite teams that we played. I don't know anything about that league or how it is. But like I say, first of all, I wish there was a place farther away from America they could send him. I don't know where Lithuania is, but if there's another place farther away, I would love to. First of all, I would never leave my kids over there. If he's a legit father, he should stay over there with those kids the entire time. That would prove something to me. People want to say he's a great father. Well, stay over there with those kids. I would never send my two teenage kids to Lithuania and then show back up in the United States the next day. I would stay with my kids if I was a good father. But like I said, I just feel bad for those kids. And I'm sick of CNN and ESPN putting this food on television all the time.
Well, just know if you listen to this show, this is one show that isn't going to do that. So you have that for you, Charles.
Yeah, that much we can guarantee you. So we'll move on to what's happened Friday here. Friday, ESPN goes all access with the Philadelphia 76ers, a full day of exclusive coverage across all of our platforms. Doris Burke's going to have a one-on-one with Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid will be live on First Take with Stephen A. They're still missing Markelle Fultz, the top pick from this year, but when you see Embiid and Simmons out there, where is the ceiling for this Sixers team as you see it right now?
What did Michael Jordan say a few years ago?
The ceiling
and
is
everybody
the roof.
made fun of it.
Yeah, the ceiling is the roof.
The ceiling is the roof. They got no ceiling. Those two kids, I think they're both tremendous people. I love what the Sixers are doing. I think they got a bad rap the last few years when people said they were tanking. I don't think they were tanking. I think they were just trying to build through the draft, and the two best players in the draft just got hurt. I think if you look at it realistically, if Embiid had played or Simmons had played, they would have been 20 games, maybe 30 games better. And I think they got a bad rap of being accused of tanking. And let me tell you something, the Sixers for the next they're not going to win a championship this year or next year, but they're going to be perennial contenders for the next. If both of those kids stay healthy, they're going to be perennial contenders for the next 10 years in about 3 years.
Charles, we put on a poll question at Golick and Wingo on our Twitter page. Who would you rather have right now? Would you rather have Porzingis right now or Ben Simmons right now?
Oh man.
We got Charles double clutching. This is good. This is good.
By the way, it's 51. I won't tell you who it's in favor of, but right now the vote is 51-49, so it's that close to everybody. We got a lot of votes.
Hey, let me tell you something. That's one of the best questions ever. Man, you know what? that's kind of like if somebody asks you, do I want Halle Berry or J-Lo? I don't care. I got the second pick in the draft. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, the vote is 51% Porzingis, 49% Simmons. I would take Simmons. I mean, they're both freaks, but man, the last big point guard we were talking about like that was Magic Johnson. That worked out pretty well, and this kid is just a freak. I would take both of them. I'm with you on that, but man, that's two kids with really bright futures.
You know, the reason I might go for Porzingis because he's a better scorer. I mean, because Simmons is going to have to improve his jump shot and his free throws. I mean, I watched that Hacker Simmons about 2 weeks ago when he shot 24 free throws in one quarter, right, and they turned a 30-point lead into a nail-biter. He's going to have to improve his offense. That's the only difference why I might take Porzingis, but it's very close.
Well, it certainly is, and like to that point, the shooter is usually what you're looking for, and the three is more than two. We've seen how that works out with Golden State. Charles, we appreciate you being with us this morning. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Charles.
Hey, guys, keep up the great work, and congratulations on the new show.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Hey, everyone, Mike Golick here. Support for the Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Computer, execute 12.4p operation.
Optimizing algorithm. Running encryption packet alpha. Night. Oh, I don't feel so good.
What is it, computer?
Is it hot in here? It feels hot in here. I feel a little clammy. I should lie down or something.
A computer with a virus? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Those oysters Rockefeller were a mistake.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
It is my favorite time of the year because we get the first post mock draft from Todd McShay after the regular season, which really means the countdown to the draft is
and
on.
I know how much he loves doing these.
Love it.
Because we're holding you to this one of your 6 mock drafts.
It's probably going to be the best one.
We're going to hold you to this one the most.
Well, Todd and I talk about this all the time. The mock drafts now, if you just did a draft right now as opposed to the draft that comes in April, how different they would be, right?
They're going to be different.
Yeah.
They will be significantly different. And, first of all, it's team needs with free agency. Guys are going to change teams, and all of a sudden, if you need a tackle, you go get one free agency, and you need a different position. So that's part of it. And then, right or wrong, well, first of all, I have a lot of tape to still catch up on. NFL teams are still going through that process as well. And then the scary part, though, is when you start really looking at the All-Star games, and much more so with the combine and the individual workouts. That's when I think a lot of mistakes are made. Or, it's not like the old days. It's not, we don't have the Mike Mamulas necessarily anymore. But I think the last thing you're focusing on for a couple months is the numbers, the workouts, and the private stuff compared to just the football. And sometimes you can lead you astray with your evaluation.
So let's look at this. We have the rest of the half hour or two after Todd leaves to go through more of this first round. But let's look at the quarterbacks. So in your first 5 picks, you have 3 quarterbacks going. Number 1 to the Browns, you have Sam Darnold. Number 2 to the Giants, you have Josh Rosen, UCLA. Number 3 to the Colts, you have the pass rusher Bradley Chubb from North Carolina State. Number 4 to the 49ers, their DB Minkah Fitzpatrick from Alabama. And number 5 to the Broncos, Josh Allen, the quarterback from Wyoming. You do have a 4th quarterback going in the first round. Number 19 to the Chargers, that would be Baker Mayfield of Oklahoma. First and foremost, I would ask, what are the percentages you think, and I know it's purely a guess here, that Sam Darnold actually decides to go back to school?
I would guess maybe 70-30 that he's going to leave at this point. And 30 is a pretty high percentage considering he just has a tough decision to make. I mean, let's just be honest. If he goes back to school, I think it will benefit him for the long term. I think he'll have an offensive line that will be better than this year, where they lost 3 guys to the NFL from their starting group last year and had 3 more injuries. Against UCLA, no, in the Pac-12 championship game, they're on their 3rd right guard.
Right.
So he started to lose trust in his protection, started to see some ghosts, feel some ghosts in the pocket, and I think his footwork regressed this year as a result. He still can be the Sam Darnold that we've seen, that we saw last year, and we saw a little bit more of towards the end of the season this year. His receivers were really young, and they got and they developed as the season went on, and the rapport got better. So he started to play good football the second half. The last 5 games, if you look at it, I think it's like 9-2 touchdown interception ratio, 64% completion. So he's playing better, but I think he'll be in better shape to succeed in the NFL if he goes back to school for another year. But
so was Trubisky, and he still went because the money was
How do you turn down $20+ million?
Well, listen, Michael Vick wasn't ready to come to the NFL, but you're not getting higher than the number 1 pick, so you're going to go.
So it'll be interesting to see if he leaves, then it's not nearly as deep a class as we think. But right now, you get Darnold, Josh Rosen, who I think is the most polished quarterback of the group.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Yes.
I think he is the best thrower of the group.
Yeah, I think it's
okay.
And you know what? If it wasn't clear, the apples to apples comparison, that USC UCLA game really it stood out to me. Just watching how much more polished he was in the pocket, going through progressions and making NFL type throws compared to Darnold, who seems to really be at his best when he's extending and has the chaos.
Okay. You answer that. I was going to ask that about. I think the same thing about Rosen as far as that throwing ability.
You mentioned 3 in the top 5. The 4th quarterback you have going in the first round is Baker Mayfield, the Heisman winner out of Oklahoma. Look, if you have him going 19 to the Chargers, and I'll just be honest with you, from a draft perspective, if that's where Baker Mayfield goes, the first night's going to be epic, because you want that guy that everyone has questions about, especially at a quarterback, to maybe go towards the back end of the first round. Adam Schefter has gone on and said he believes that Baker's going to go a lot higher than people think. David Pollack thinks he should be the first quarterback taken. What do you think are the comparable quarterbacks to Baker Mayfield that he might be at the next level?
I think probably the best comparison to me, and I'm not saying it's identical,
right?
But I think Russell Wilson is close. I think it's Russell Wilson maybe with a little on the field Johnny Manziel to his game, where he thrives in the chaos. But Russell Wilson's kind of the same. I think he's a little bit more developed as a passer and a little bit twitchier, but I think a lot of the similar characteristics, and just studying the tape, I think Russell Wilson's an adequate comparison. Obviously, when you look at Baker, he's around 6 foot. He's a little bit taller, but still not size is not at his advantage.
But he's thick like Russell.
He is. He's thick and strong, and he's done a good job protecting himself. He's been durable. He has I think he's going to end his career 45, 46 starts, which if you go back and study it, it seems like the simplest thing in the world, but there is a correlation between college experience and future NFL success at the quarterback position. So Baker, I'll be honest with you, when I started the process in the summer, watched the tape, I gave him a day 2 grade. And that's a quarterback to me. That's okay. It's going to be a great backup. Maybe he can develop into a starter, but we're not counting on it and investing that much money. This year, he has improved so much with his accuracy. His arm seems stronger. Maybe it's just seeing him live. He has more juice on his throws than I remember or thought watching off of tape. And, I know that he had those incidents, and I know there's some immaturity questions that need to be answered. But when you see him live, his ability to just galvanize the team, the energy he brings, he's got something special in terms of the intangibles.
He certainly does, but you and I know, having done this long enough, there are going to be 2 sort of measurables that will determine just how high he goes besides the arm strength and everything else. One's going to be the speed. Is he going to have the same speed close to Russell in the 40 time? Because Russell is elusive because he's a little faster than people think. So I will be curious to see exactly what Baker's 40 time is going to be because of the way he plays. And the other thing that not many people talk about, but is going to be a huge thing, is hand size. Do we know what his hand size is yet?
I don't think we have it.
Because that's going to be a big deal for a guy that's undersized.
It didn't show up. I've seen. I think it's in the 9.3 range. I think it's adequate. I think it's solid.
Because that's going to be a concern.
I've already got Mort texting me this morning about one of the other quarterbacks' hand sizes and thinking that I'm heading down the wrong path with it.
Now explain to people why that's such a big bugaboo for talent evaluators in the NFL. Hand size for a quarterback.
Well, it's first of all gripping a ball. in the rain and different situations like that. And also, there's a high correlation between guys with smaller hands and ball security, just protecting the football and being able to, pump fakes, different things like that. But when you're carrying the ball and you don't have a chance to get two hands on it and defenders are wrapping you up and going to bat the ball away, guys with the bigger hands are typically the ones who do a better job protecting it.
Skolnick and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN2. We're talking with Todd McShay. Just released his first mock draft. You can check it out now on ESPN.com. The fourth quarterback one we haven't talked about. You have him going number 5 to the Broncos. They're going to try again with a first-rounder. Josh Allen from Wyoming, who is just a specimen.
He is.
Firing that ball and his size in the pocket. And he struggled at times this year, depleted receiver core. I know all that, but he's also the least quarterback anybody has seen, of not of people who are breaking this down, but of the general public.
Right.
Because of being at Wyoming.
The only two times people nationally saw him were Oregon and Iowa, where they didn't play well.
So does he get a bump from the fact that, look what Carson Wentz, look the school he came from, North Dakota State, and look at how well he's doing, big strapping quarterback. Maybe Allen can do the same thing.
He's, to me, the most interesting of all of these quarterbacks because he has the best physical tools.
Oh, yeah.
God just doesn't make many guys with his frame, his arm, and his mobility.
Unreal.
He makes throws where you say, whoa. You just don't see a lot of that out there. But he makes decisions where you say, whoa.
What are you doing?
You cannot get away with this.
Well,
so mentally, he's not nearly as advanced as Carson Wentz was coming out of school. And I think that's the difference. Same coaching staff, same system. Certainly Allen has improved and matured. He's competitive. He's tough, just like Wentz is. But I think that's the difference. Whereas Allen has better physical tools, Wentz, I think, was mentally more he just picked things up quicker and had a better grasp of football intelligence or knowledge.
And if you're a Broncos fan, the best news is he's 6'5", he's not 6'7".
Yeah.
Because Brock Osweiler and Paxton Lynch, we laugh, but that makes a huge difference in your ability to move and set and get your feet right.
The release.
Players that tall, just 6'7" doesn't seem to work in the NFL.
Very few,
And
really.
there's one other one, real quickly, I know we got to go. Mason Rudolph, how close was he to being in the top 5? Being a first-round quarterback?
I think he'll go in the second round.
Yeah.
And Lamar Jackson's another one it's just a really difficult evaluation because he does things from an athletic standpoint that most guys can't do, but can he hold up physically? Can he continue to develop as a pocket passer? Those are the two really intriguing players because they have special qualities, but there's some development that needs to occur with both of them. And I think second round is probably fair with those, but this is a really deep group. Right. I mean, you can go down the line and some other quarterbacks that maybe don't have big names, but this is a really deep group of quarterbacks and one of the better top to bottom groups we've seen in a while.
We mentioned a couple. We mentioned the Cars and now the Moody Blues and what that's about. Next April in Cleveland, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, your inductees will be the award for early influences, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, and then the performer category, Bon Jovi, the Cars, Dire Straits, the Moody Blues, and Nina Simone. So congratulations to all for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Golick and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance, all phone guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And we were talking a little bit with McShay about Baker Mayfield and the hand size. And this is why this is such a big deal. Tim Keown, writes for ESPN.com, wrote about Baker Mayfield by saying his hands are small, much smaller than the hands you expect to throw a football, actually at a long distance. They're so small, they almost shrivel into his wrists. Shaking hands with him feels like grabbing a set of keys. He's practically a kangaroo.
That's one hell of an explanation of somebody's hands.
That's a very, very descriptive, but that's why it's such a big deal. And just so you know, the players that are in the draft know this. Brandon Allen, who is now on the Rams, the former quarterback at Arkansas, he knew his hand sizes were going to be an issue in the draft when he was a quarterback at Arkansas. So he went on to YouTube and figured out ways to stretch his hands to make them bigger. And his hand was measured at 8.5 inches at the Senior Bowl, but it was measured at 8 7/8 inches at the Combine, thanks to massage work. So players really do understand how critical teams feel that is.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That is just amazing to me. All right, again, Todd McShay's first draft is out. Went over the top 5 because 3 were quarterbacks. So we'll give you a few more here. Again, to the Browns, number 1, Sam Darnold. Giants, number 2, Josh Rosen. Colts, number 3, Bradley Chubb, the pass rusher from North Carolina State. 49ers, the defensive back from Alabama, Minkah Fitzpatrick. And the Broncos taking Josh Allen, the quarterback out of Wyoming. Continuing on, he has the Browns taking Saquon Barkley, the running back out of Penn State. and says basically this is a value pick, so we'll see where it goes. The Bucks, Tampa Bay, taking Clelin Ferrell, the D lineman DN from Clemson. They're going to have a couple in the first round, let me tell you that. The Bears, Calvin Ridley, the wide receiver from Alabama. The Jets at number 9, the DN Arden Key from LSU. Number 10 for the Bengals, the tackler Connor Williams from Texas, who is not playing in that team's bowl game while preparing for the draft. And Todd has him going. He's the first offensive lineman to go in this draft at 10. Number 11, he has the Cardinals taking the tackle from Notre Dame, Mike McGlinchey. 12, the Raiders, a cornerback, Denzel Ward from Ohio State. Then you have Derwin James from Florida State going to the Redskins.
Boy,
Quentin Nelson.
He can play so many different positions.
He absolutely can. And then maybe the best lineman in the draft, Quentin Nelson, the guard from Notre Dame, going number 14 to the Dolphins.
Yep.
So that's your first 14 picks there. Again, Baker Mayfield, the quarterback to the Chargers.
At 19.
At 19. So 4 quarterbacks going right now in the first round in this draft.
All right, so that's what's going on. Again, there'll be more mock drafts coming up. We'll have Todd on NFL Live today to talk a little bit more about it. By the way, guest tomorrow in Golic and Wingo will be Simone Askew, the Army Cadet Rhodes Scholar.
Yes.
Congratulations. She was a big part of the Army win over Navy. Adam Schefter and Scottie Pippen. And, we made fun of Junior yesterday. He had some issues with the past tense of the word succumb.
Right.
He used succumb as opposed to succumbed.
Oh, no.
Well, let me just say like father, like son, because this is what you tried to say today, and I'm not sure it really went the way you wanted.
And those veterans will be shift-shaped around. There we go.
I think it was shape-shifted.
I have no idea.
There you go. It was awesome, though.
Why did I do it?
We appreciate you.
Shut
and
up.
we appreciate you. Thanks for listening, Golic and Wingo. We'll see you tomorrow.
I hate you, Trey.